Welcome to Zero Gravity's podcast. Today I have my good friend, Jason. Some people call him Bitbender. He is the co-founder and CEO of Datagram. People that are completely unfamiliar, tell them what Datagram is and what you're hoping to accomplish there.
Sure, man. So Datagram is, you can best think of Datagram as sort of the DePIN for DePINs. Okay, when you think of Ethereum, you think of token launches. When you think of Solana, you think of meme coins. When you think of Datagram, you should think of DePIN. We provide a substrate that other Datagram or that other DePIN projects can deploy on top of that handles all of sort of the unsexy business work of being a DePIN and allows those DePINs to focus on the things that they want to do, whether it's decentralizing music, decentralizing AI, distributed compute, whatever it is that you guys want to do within your DePINs, the Datagram core substrate allows you to do that. You can also think of us as a replacement for pretty much anything that you're doing on AWS right now, just 70 to 90% cheaper, which makes everybody happy.
Well, talk to us a little bit about that there, because a lot of people, when they think of DePIN, they think like Solana, maybe they think of like some other networks like Peak. Talk to us a little bit about like what you guys are bringing that like a Solana, as an example, doesn't provide.
Well, I mean, in terms of, we don't do token launches. Like, you're not going to launch a token on top of Datagram.
Mhm.
I mean, candidly speaking, we do have an L1. You could do that if you wanted to. But I'm of the belief that having a blockchain or even being a blockchain these days isn't that big of an accomplishment. Anyone can spin up a blockchain really, really, really quickly. So the question is not, do you have a blockchain, but rather what do you do with it and what does the rest of your ecosystem do? Because I think one of the things that in this industry we've forgotten over the years is that, hey, this stuff is supposed to do things. It's not just, about cats and hats and, things like that. There's actually, stuff that you're supposed to do, right? And so what differentiates us really from most of these other networks is, we actually do stuff. We started this project, and today, right now, even as we're, just now starting to come out from sort of stealth development, we have almost 2 million users that have gone through our system at one point in time or another, and none of them have any idea that they're using decentralized infrastructure, which is the holy grail of onboarding. So that's something that's super, super important for us. But what we enable other projects to do is to do things too. Unfortunately, when you look at a lot of DePIN projects out there, they're very, very, very vaporware heavy. Okay. And this has been a problem in the blockchain space for a long time. I mean, I remember in the, 2016, 2017 ICO craze, you were having people with the most asinine white papers raising millions of dollars to speculatively go build something that, of course, they never did. So this is not a new problem, but it is a problem that we are uniquely able to help solve. So if you have a DePIN project and you don't know what to do with this whole node concept, because this is a little bit my fault. I have to like take a second and be like, because this whole node sale thing kind of was started by me and my crew at Gala previously. Previously, I was the president of blockchain at Gala. We were the first project to do a large, successful node sale. To my knowledge, it's the largest node sale ever. It was $870 million, fully retail. So no whitelisting, no, sales blocks, nothing like that. And people after that began looking at node sales and saying like, oh, this is a thing that we should really do. We should definitely do this. And they would do that, but then they wouldn't go and do sort of the homework necessary to make those nodes actually do something. The node sales became in many ways sort of a surrogate for the ICO. Okay, it's like, okay, well, we can't sell tokens, so we'll sell nodes. And that's not the best way to do things. Selling nodes is great, but you have to have nodes that do things. And this is where we come in. We enable DePIN projects to actually run nodes, to have uptime recorded on chain, to have all of the usage recorded on chain, so that at the end of the day, everything that's happening is transparent and fair, and then they can focus on building out whatever the thing is that they want those to do. So these two processes essentially run in parallel, one with the Datagram substrate, and then whatever your DePIN project does run together, and enable you to focus on the thing that you actually want to build in your area of expertise, because most people aren't DePIN people.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And then let's walk through an example, because I always think that's the easiest way to like kind of see the
Sure.
user journey. So let's imagine I'm JaxPin. I'm kind of, I'm going to be a Helium competitor, and
Hmm.
I'm looking to launch my DePIN network. So with kind of Helium in mind, or JaxPin in mind, talk to
JaxPin,
us a little
sure.
bit. JaxPin as in mind. How would
I
I
like it.
use Datagram?
So it's very simple. Okay, we provide a substrate that you can build on top of. The way that you can think of this is, think of a train. Okay, now you have the engine that powers the train. Okay, and then you have a whole bunch of different flat cars. Now these flat cars are the Datagram substrate. You can then put a box car on top of the flat car. Okay, and using this network, okay, get it from A to B. Okay, so your process, okay, your JaxPin Helium competitor, okay, whatever it is that that does, okay, would run in parallel with the Datagram core substrate on the same piece of hardware. Now, the best way to visualize this, okay, is imagine overlapping and intersecting spider webs. Okay, each small spider web. Okay, let's say you have 5,000 nodes in your JaxPin network. Okay, that intersects with the next project that has 5,000 nodes, a next project, and all of that is linked together in the Datagram core substrate. And so what this means is that your project, as you have to route data through your network, your routing is now more efficient, because now you're not just routing through your network, you're routing through everybody's network. Okay, and there's precedence for this. One of the things that most people don't know, okay, is that today about 85% of the IPFS DHT network, so the distributed hash table routing, okay, runs on Gala founders nodes. That's a thing that most people don't know about. So this has been done before, okay, to a certain extent. And what we're doing at Datagram is we're taking some of those lessons, okay, we're leaning in really heavily on the making things transparent and doing things the right way and abiding by all of sort of the core ethos of Web3 and crypto and blockchain. And we're enabling this massive network to grow, uh, and support itself, and make it so that projects can support one another through helping themselves.
Well, that makes sense. And then talk to us a little bit about. So we had JaxPin network, and is this right for every single vertical, or you guys look at specific verticals, like I don't know, like a Hive mapper that would be like dash cams, or like a Helium, which would be like IoT devices? Like what specific vertical, or is it completely agnostic? Like, hey, it works
It's
for
totally
everything.
agnostic. It's whatever you want it to be. And in fact, so there's a lot of work that has gone into making it that way. So one of the things, for example, that makes the Datagram core substrate stand out is that you can run it on ARM processors. So you can run it on devices quite easily. So you could run it parallel to the Helium workload on a Helium device if you wanted to, if they enabled that.
Mhm.
So you could run it on devices. You could run it, with a little bit of work on your, on your car, I would imagine. And so whatever your network is that you want to build out, it's quite easy for you to do so.
Interesting. And I'm sure it was pretty difficult to build this technology. So like what underpins the like building up the substrate itself and the node coordination?
Well, it's actually super cool because so I left Gala about 9 months ago, and I joined with Dr. William Nguyen to co-found Datagram. Now, Dr. Nguyen is probably, um, he is a man who has an absolutely unimpeachable mad scientist aura. Okay, the dude is like next level brilliant, and he's worked for decades on distributed compute, going all the way back to Lawrence Livermore Labs in the mid 1990s, where he was working on distributed compute for computational biology. He then went on from there to continue building out his computational biology research using distributed and parallel compute at Harvard Med, and then later at he did a Sloan postdoctoral fellowship. So like, a very, very impressive credentials. And he's been doing this research and building out a network for this for literally 25 years. And so this is something that once we came together, the thing that he didn't have was some of the Web3 side of things. Like he had the distributed compute, but not necessarily the Web3. And so that's where I've joined with him, and together we've co-founded this and spun it off the back of his Web2 company, and we've created this. So that's one of the things that's really given us a leg up in terms of having something that's actually live, because we don't have to build this, from scratch. This isn't a thing where, we're trying to raise money and then we'll go build it. It's live. You can use it at demo.datagram.network today and see exactly how it works. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you trying to integrate with like say existing DePIN projects,
Yes,
or is this mostly like net new?
absolutely.
Okay, got it.
Absolutely. And the reason for that is that we can help those DePIN projects, okay, both by making it so that their routing through their network is faster, okay, because the larger the network is, the more connections there are within that network, the faster data can move within that network, and providing part of the transport layer to move that data between different pieces. I mean, this is designed to be something that can be used for pretty much anything, and so we can help DePIN projects. We can also help Web 2 and Web 3 businesses that are just businesses actually run more efficiently and run better.
Yeah, it's kind of the classic thing. It's like, hey, we're solving a business problem, which is
That's
sometimes
what it
very
is, dude.
much
It's
lacking in Web3.
don't even start. Yes, yes. It's about solving a business problem. It's a, why are you building this? What does it do? How does it help? How is this a better solution than what exists right now? And what we have is
Yeah, now many people in the Web2 sphere will say like, decentralization, like you're adding all these nodes in, isn't that going to just like
mm,
increase latency? Talk to us, maybe some Web2 people that might listen to this and might think
sure.
like, why would I use that?
Well, okay. So there's a couple things. The first thing is that will it increase latency? Yes, it will. And the reason for that is that if you are in a centralized server, okay, and you're moving an entry from one field in a Mongo database to another field in the same Mongo database, yes, it will be faster. That will be faster. That will always be faster. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that speed gets you anything. Okay, because in many cases your latency to that data center, okay, there may be significant latency there, okay, so that's one. And two, speeds have gotten so ridiculously fast, okay, across the entire internet, that latency in many cases becomes trivial. Okay, because your speed at which the data moves and the speed at which the data is computed and recompiled and whatever it is that you need to do with it on the other end, the speed at which all of that happens now is so fast that it almost doesn't matter. So yes, it is slower than, say, a single database, but what you gain in that is that you gain resiliency, redundancy, and anti-fragility, so that you don't have a situation where AWS, like somebody bumps a light switch somewhere and your entire network goes down for 20 minutes. Because by having tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of nodes in a network, there's always another pathway to be routed to.
Yeah, and I think that probably brings up the other point. It's, people are worried about like co-tenants. They're worried about like all of kinds of privacy ideas, and
Mm,
it's like, oh well, if it's going through like hundreds of thousands of nodes or thousands of nodes,
yeah.
like, isn't there a big privacy concern there?
No, because it's basically a tunneling. It's a tunneling VPN for every time you do anything, essentially. And the way that it's set up, it is end to end encrypted, and it never. And this is really important. Okay, you know what? Here, I'll give a great example. I was talking to a friend of mine on WhatsApp the other day. Okay, we were having a call on WhatsApp, and his name is Exhale, and we were talking about coming to visit Thailand. I said, you should come visit Thailand. He said, oh, I'd love to visit Thailand. That sounds great. 10 minutes later, he sends me a screenshot and he says, dude, they're totally listening. And it's on Facebook. Okay. And it was a picture of flights to Thailand, like, which he had never seen before until we had that conversation. So here's the thing. If you're not paying for something, you're the product. Okay.
100%.
If you're using a free messaging service, that shit ain't free. They're using that information. Okay. And so it doesn't matter whether it's Amazon or Meta or whoever it is. Okay. These things, like, somebody's using that data for something. Now, I don't mean to make it sound like, somebody advertising to him based on something that he actually wants is, the worst thing in the world, but it does make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of, you don't have that with this. And every time you make a connection, it's end-to-end encrypted, and it's running through a different node in the network. So there's no way that anyone's going to man in the middle that. It's a very robust system.
Yeah, it is kind of funny because they say the chats are encrypted. Maybe they'd be like, oh, well, we took the advertising data because we know that Jason's in
Yeah.
Thailand and we know this person's here. So
Yeah.
it's like, maybe. But yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
gives you
Well,
a
I mean,
very uneasy feel.
pick a topic that's not a thing that you've ever talked about. Set your phone on the table in front of you and just talk about that topic for 30 seconds just in the presence of your phone. Okay, this works especially well if you have the Facebook or Instagram or Threads apps installed. And just talk for a minute and let me know how quickly you start seeing ads for life insurance, or pick a random thing that does not fit your demographic and is not a thing you've ever searched for, and just talk about it. See what happens. It's pretty funny
Yeah,
and
it's.
alarming.
I also have to say, like, I think, and this is part of the reason, like, zero gravity, decentralized AI, you've got to think we're getting ads in LLMs in the next 6 to 12 months. Like, there's just
Yeah.
no space in which there aren't ads, and you're like,
No.
all right, they're coming.
Oh yeah, no, they're 100% coming, and um, I mean, you would expect it, right?
I can't believe it's not there yet. I literally have a
who
company
says it's
built
not?
around this idea.
Who says it's not? Like, I've been looking at some stuff from ChatGPT that's made some interesting suggestions to me that have potential commercial implications.
Interesting. I mean, it'd be
Who
so
says?
easy for them to throw in affiliate links, just in any, like, hey,
Yeah,
we
of
throw a
course.
link, affiliate it.
I mean, dude, and it's not like you wouldn't, right?
No.
Necessarily, right?
Oh, if I owned the
Like,
thing, I'd be doing it
of
immediately.
course, right? So it's like
Yeah.
you can't hold it against them, but you can
I
say,
ain't hating the
yeah, I don't
player.
like
No.
this. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's just the game we're at. Yeah, that makes complete sense. So one of our big things here at Zero Gravity, of course, is like decentralized AI and building. So how does kind of Datagram enable that, or kind of fit into the like AI first future?
Sure. I mean, well, actually, just today I was talking to Dr. William, and he was talking about how we now have LLMs running across some of the nodes, which is a pretty cool thing to do, as you guys know. And so decentralized AI is an interesting thing. It really depends on sort of your model for what that looks like. Because we originally started with these really large language models. Okay, like ChatGPT's, their model is fucking giant. Okay, we're I think our tests today were running llama across some of the nodes. I don't recall which number, but I think it's 7B or something. Anyway, running llama across the nodes, and so what is sort of becoming a little bit more in vogue, and you're even starting to see this within some of the. I don't know which ChatGPT version it was, but I remember I read an article about using the micro models, where you have a specific model that's trained on one topic, say real estate or medicine or something like that. And when you ask the initial question, the model is now read the question, analyze whether or not that is the topic of discussion, and then direct to the right mini model to handle the actual, inference on that specific topic. This is very possible to do with Datagram and with decentralized AI. So I very much look forward to seeing the growth in this field going forward.
Yeah, which makes sense for the mini model. And for listeners, like, okay, it's imagine like I have a coding question. You might not just send that. You might send that to a very finely tuned thing about specific coding. It might be trained
Correct.
specifically on Python or R or like a particular
Yep. Yep.
submodel of that. And then another thing people are doing is they have this like anti-hallucination effect where it's like,
Right.
hey, maybe we said this blockchain had 10,000 TPS, and then other models are trying to confirm or deny this
Right.
in like a consensus mechanism, which is
Correct.
quite interesting. So yeah,
It
that makes
is.
sense.
It is.
So people are running llama models on Datagram, and like, do they just kind of, how does it work? Like, let's say I want to run a decentralized model. Do I just sign in to Datagram? Do I just launch it? Like, how does it
Well,
ultimately work?
you would run your own nodes that would do that, and you would use
Got it.
Datagram to track and manage that. So the let's say you wanted to build out, and this is, again, this is key here. We don't want to do everything. We want to enable you to do the thing that you're best at and that is most important to you. So whether it's decentralized AI, decentralized music, video streaming, messaging, whatever that happens to be, we want to provide the tools to make you better able to do that. And so that's really, how we think about this problem and how we focus on it.
Absolutely. And then what kind of milestones you guys have coming up? Anything on the horizon that people can kind of get excited for?
Yes, actually, we've got a lot of stuff that's coming up here. We're getting ready to probably, late April, early May. We're going to be kicking off our node sale. So you'll be able to get in and get a part of that. There will be people will be able to run those nodes. TGE was probably going to be coming in June or July. We've got TCP coming on here shortly. One of the things that's different about us is that, and you can see this if you go try the demo at datagram.network. We work really, really well with UDP. As far as I know, we're the only platform out there that has solved for UDP correctly. So you can do real-time communications and video calls and stuff via UDP, but we're bringing TCP on, and then GPU as well. So people will be able to, handle sending render tasks to the network, sending computational tasks of all sorts, sending AI tasks. So whatever it is that you want to do, you'll be able to, deploy and do that on top of the resources that we provide. And then you just simply pay for those resources.
Very exciting. So a lot of things coming up.
Dude,
And
so much.
Finally, where can people learn more about you and Datagram?
Sure. I would highly recommend everyone check out datagram.network. Okay. And then on Twitter, you can follow us at X at Dgram Network. And then I'm Bitbender Brink on
Perfect.
X.
And I'll put all the links in the description so you can connect with Jason and you can connect with the company. Until the next time, let's continue building the future of decentralized AI.